Tottenham Hotspur are entering a decisive phase of their season, both on and off the pitch, with January developments now beginning to shape the remainder of Thomas Frank's campaign. The club continue to work quietly but aggressively in the market, with attacking reinforcements prioritised and several names now firmly under evaluation. Among them, Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo has emerged as one of the most significant subjects of discussion inside Tottenham's recruitment department. The 24-year-old, whose release clause is understood to be set at £65 million, has attracted interest from multiple Premier League sides. But Spurs are believed to be among the most persistent in exploring a potential deal. That pursuit intensified following comments from Ghana head coach Otto Addo, who suggested Semenyo is approaching the stage where a move to a larger club is the most logical next step in his career. Addo described the forward's growth as progression rather than surprise, with those remarks interpreted by some as a quiet green light ahead of a possible transfer. Tottenham's efforts are not limited to wide attacking areas, with reinforcements in midfield now viewed as equally essential. Brighton's Carlos Baleba remains on the radar after the South Coast club lowered their valuation from around £100 million to £75 million. Tottenham have held internal discussions regarding whether Baleba represents the right balance of cost, development potential, and immediate squad impact. His form this season has been mixed, but those inside Spurs believe his ceiling remains high and that the player would thrive in Postecoglou's possession-focused system. Brighton's willingness to identify Aston Villa youngster Lamar Bogard as a potential replacement is being interpreted as another sign the Seagulls are preparing for negotiation if the right offer arrives. Tottenham also remain active in monitoring emerging talent, and Anderlecht winger Nilson Angelo is another name now linked with the club following a breakout season in Belgium. The Ecuadorian has impressed scouts with his pace, intelligence and end product, registering a strong return of goals and assists across league and European competition. Tottenham are one of at least 5 English clubs who have held scouting presence in recent weeks, though the player is reportedly keen to delay any move until the summer to maintain rhythm ahead of international competition. Former Spurs scout Brian King has added another dimension to the midfield conversation by urging the club to revive interest in Conor Gallagher. The England international is expected to be made available by Atletico Madrid after discussions with head coach Diego Simeone made it clear he is no longer viewed as a long-term option. King believes Gallagher would slot seamlessly into Tottenham's midfield structure alongside Yves Bissouma and James Maddison, who remains on schedule to return from injury later this month. As the market unfolds, Tottenham's focus is clear: improve depth, increase competition for starting roles, and maintain momentum in the fight for European qualification. Postecoglou has made no attempt to disguise his ambition, repeatedly insisting the club must act decisively if they are to compete with the league's elite. Tottenham have been criticised in previous years for hesitation during key windows, but this month feels different. There is intent, there is urgency, and there is a recognition that missing out again could stall progress at a critical stage of the project. For now, negotiations continue behind the scenes, discussions remain active, and Tottenham's long-term direction is being shaped day by day. Whether Semenyo arrives, whether Baleba becomes the marquee midfield signing, or whether another late option emerges, Spurs are preparing to move, and the coming weeks will determine just how ambitious their winter business truly becomes. Tottenham Hotspur are preparing for a busy and potentially decisive January transfer window, with the club expected to prioritise attacking reinforcements as Thomas Frank looks to strengthen depth and consistency across multiple areas of the pitch. Spurs have identified the need for a top-class wide forward, and one of the most heavily discussed targets is RB Leipzig sensation Jan Diomande, the 19-year-old who has exploded onto the European stage since joining from Leganés in the summer. Tottenham have already held advanced discussions regarding the Ivory Coast international, but they are not alone, and the race for his signature has intensified significantly. Reports suggest Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Newcastle United are all tracking the winger closely. However, it is Liverpool who are believed to currently hold the strongest position, with scouts from Anfield pushing for the club to act quickly after being extremely impressed by Diomande's performances this season. RB Leipzig are fully aware of the growing interest and have indicated publicly and privately that any club wanting to sign him would need to come close to triggering his £87 million release clause. One senior figure inside Leipzig has even compared the level of external attention to the period when a young Erling Haaland emerged through the Red Bull football system, calling Diamande's potential as high as anything we have seen. Despite interest from almost every major Premier League contender, Leipzig are adamant they do not intend to sell the teenager mid-season, insisting there is no active plan to allow him to leave in January. Another name linked with Spurs in recent weeks is Brentford forward Igor Thiago. Reports circulating suggested Tottenham were preparing a £30 million offer and were exploring a possible loan-to-buy arrangement. Those rumours have now been firmly shut down by Brentford sources, who have made it clear that Thiago will not be departing this winter under any circumstances. The Brazilian has enjoyed a breakout campaign, scoring 11 goals in all competitions and drawing comparisons to some of the division's best physical forwards. His form has been so impressive that he is now reportedly being monitored by the Brazilian national team setup, with Carlo Ancelotti and his staff understood to be assessing him ahead of next summer's World Cup. Brentford consider him a central part of their project and are relaxed about mounting interest, privately insisting they are prepared to reject January approaches regardless of value. Tottenham's recruitment plans extend beyond the attacking third, with defensive reinforcement also being assessed. One player who continues to be monitored closely is Brighton's Jan-Paul van Hecke. The Dutch centre-back has started every Premier League match this season and has emerged as one of the most reliable performers in Fabian Hürzeler's squad. Tottenham were linked with him during the summer, but did not proceed with a formal bid. However, there is growing expectation that Spurs may test Brighton's resolve in 2026, with reports suggesting a potential offer in the region of £40 million could be forthcoming. Brighton are aware of the defender's rising valuation, but remain hopeful he will commit his long-term future to the club, with Hürzeler publicly praising his professionalism, mentality, and leadership qualities. The Brighton manager referred to Van Hecke as an important leader within the squad and credited his development to his work ethic, commitment, and character, describing him as someone who has already taken responsibility on and off the pitch. For Tottenham, the situation is clear. Improvements are necessary. The club have struggled to keep pace with the Premier League's top sides this season and have been outperformed in key fixtures, including against Arsenal, Chelsea, Bournemouth, and Fulham. With injuries, inconsistency, and a congested schedule placing pressure on squad depth, January represents an important opportunity for the club to stabilise and strengthen. While negotiations and scouting work continue behind the scenes, nothing is yet guaranteed, especially with multiple Premier League rivals competing for similar targets. But one thing is certain: Tottenham are active, ambitious, and determined. And with the window just weeks away, the next phase of recruitment could play a major role in shaping the second half of their season, and potentially their long-term project under Thomas Frank.